It takes everybody. It takes a village to raise a child. So if we inform the parents as well as the children, especially in underserved areas where they may not have access to what I'm talking about, it's a team effort. People say, Wendy, Mpower is your business. No, it's not my business. It is something that I was giving stewardship over. It's a mission, and I need my teammates to make it work.
That was Dr. Wendy Ward, founder of Mpower Productions. And this is Epicenter NYC. We connect our communities to news, information, and each other. I'm your host, Amber Castillo. Dr. Wendy Ward is an anesthesiologist, a coach, and the founder of Mpower Productions, a business built on helping others recognize their own power and potential. Her journey started on Doctors Row in Crown Heights, surrounded by the influence of community leaders and a family dedicated to service. From there, Dr. Ward's path took her through college basketball, medical training, and ultimately the creation of a platform for empowerment. Mpower Productions is what Dr. Ward calls CPR for empowerment, focusing on stress management, resilience, and unlocking the unique strengths in each of us. Today, I sit down with Dr. Ward to learn more about her experiences breaking barriers as a Black female doctor, how she mixes science with spirituality to connect with clients of all ages, and her vision for a global empowerment mission. Before we jump in, a quick message from our team.
Hi, I'm Mariana from the Epicenter NYC team. Did you know that anxiety, sleep problems, and muscle pain could be symptoms of long COVID? Take the steps needed to protect yourself, your family, and your plants. Get vaccinated against COVID-19. We can help you schedule your appointment and even arrange you right there. Email us at hello@epicenter-nyc.com or call or text us at 917-818-2690.
Now back to the show. Here's my conversation with Dr. Ward.
My name is Wendy A. Ward, MD. I am the founder and CEO of Mpower Productions.
Take us to the beginning. What inspired you to start Mpower Productions?
Interestingly enough, it started when I had been practicing medicine for about 8 years or so. I just had this nudge. I'm very talented. I've been gifted with a lot of different talents. Just to name a few, I'm an athlete, I'm a singer, songwriter, I'm an author, poet, storyteller. And I couldn't imagine that even though I do good work as a physician, that I was only designated to do that one thing. It was almost as if my soul was calling and I felt inspired to do more. So I went on a journey inward, really to find out, why am I here? Why am I really here? What is life about? What is my true purpose? And that's kind of what inspired the birth of Mpower Productions, CPR for Empowerment, which is my business, which I'd really like to say it's a mission because it's actually not a business, it's a mission, and my foundation, Teaching People to Fish. So that's really how it all started. And that allowed me to express not only as a physician, but that was one part of what I did as a physician at work as an anesthesiologist, but to really come into my purpose as a life transformation specialist, where I do stress management and success training. It was about becoming a healer. And people say, well, Wendy, you're a doctor. So being a healer, you already are. I always tell people this: not all physicians are healers. Not all healers are physicians. I like to identify not as a doctor, but as a healer, because that's where I make a difference in the world and I live my purpose and create benefits for clients and for people.
What do you see as that difference between healing and being a physician or doctor?
Well, being an anesthesiologist specifically, I am taking care of one entity of the healing spectrum. But as a life transformation specialist, I'm kind of tapping into getting people to live into their greatness. As a healer, I want my clients to experience 3 benefits. It's one, so that people can really acknowledge, access, and activate their greatness within. Because a lot of people don't know they're born with greatness, but they are not able to tap into it because they really don't know that that exists within them. The second thing is to provide stress management so that I teach people how to manage challenges which are inevitable in life and build resilience. And pre-COVID, it was a big thing because chronic stress has been a public health crisis pre-COVID. People really didn't listen to me as much prior, but post-COVID, it really changed the spectrum. People said, Wendy, I know what you're talking about now. So they could identify with the fact that chronic stress creates disease and dis-ease and must be managed. So the third thing that leads me to be able to help people find and plug into their passion, to really know what their gifts, talents, and abilities are so they can create and live the happy, healthy, fulfilling life of purpose that they absolutely love, not only for the benefit of themselves, but to serve, help, and uplift others.
Where did you grow up, and how important was that community to who you are now?
Oh, vitally important. I grew up on President Street, and this particular block between Brooklyn and Kingston Avenue in Brooklyn was known as Doctor and Preacher's Row. I didn't understand it or appreciate it as much when I was a very little girl, but as I got older, I didn't realize kind of like the royalty that was on my block. We had the presidential election coming up, and she's getting a lot of play now because Kamala Harris is running for president. But I grew up across the street from Shirley Chisholm, first Black woman congresswoman, and the first Black candidate to run for a major party for president. I mean, that's amazing. Then, not to downplay anybody else, just to name a few, there were many others. Reverend William Jones, Reverend Gardner Taylor. These people worked with MLK, informed MLK during the civil rights movement. These are people that were on my block. And of course, Dr. Josephine English, which you were at the inauguration of her block. That was in the next President Street between Brooklyn and New York Avenue. And that corner at New York Avenue was named for Dr. Josephine English, who was definitely a trailblazer as a gynecologist, as worked in real estate and empowering and informing her community, opening up the first practice for medicine as a Black woman, which is phenomenal. So I had a multitude of examples inside my home. My dad's a doctor, as I mentioned, my mom, a teacher, but all of these people around me. So it was just expected that you serve and give back. That's just the way it was. That's all we knew.
Some of these memories, right, of you in your youth, but also maintaining some of these passions and some of these parts of yourself, even up until now, I believe, because you're still making music and poetry and seem to have that spirit and energy of athleticism. So I'm wondering how much of that plays a role in your own work with youths and kind of that youthful spirit.
It plays everything. Being able to communicate with youth through example. Being an athlete, it surprises them. Being a singer and a songwriter, which is popular, pop culture, it surprises them. I'll give you an example. I went to do a career day at a middle school. And of course, they get my bio prior. On paper, I look like this boring doctor, and they're probably like, ho hum. So I walk in and I give them the visual. I have on my lab coat. I have on my stethoscope, and they are sitting back in their chair like this. Oh, yeah, here comes a boring doctor, another boring person coming in to tell us about what they do. But I don't believe in that. So once I was introduced, I had a little bag of tricks, I call it. I took off my lab coat, I took off my stethoscope, and underneath it, I had a number 10 New York Knicks throwback jersey from my favorite player. I go into my bag of tricks, I pull out my basketball, and I start dribbling the ball between my legs. The kids went insane because now I'm relatable. I'm not that doctor way up here. I am that kid, that student, that someone they can relate to. And I told them, I said, look, you're going to teach me and I am going to teach you. I'm not your God, your boss, your authority. I'm here to share information. Take some of it, none of it, all of it. Take it now, never, or later. I'm simply here to share. And we are going to have some fun while we do it. The kids didn't want to leave. After the session was over, usually they're running out. I was told they did not want to leave. All the kids are coming up to me. They just wanted more because they could see themselves in me. One particular child, you could tell, I'm very animated. I'm very hyper. And I got in trouble for that when I was a kid. But it allows me to be very passionate and animated, and this is what people resonate with. One young boy came up to me and he said, I got in trouble I still get in trouble for being hyper. He said, but you give me permission to know that there's nothing wrong with me. that I am okay. And his mother thanked me for that later on when there was a forum. So I know that I can make more of a difference, not only as a physician, which you asked before, but as this healer, as this educator, as a person who can provide empowerment and inspiration, but be real, not fake, because this is who I am.
What are some of the practical lessons that you find youth engaging with you the most about?
I think there's a couple of things. One is about confidence. It's about having confidence in yourself and believe that you are here for a purpose. You are perfectly gifted to do what you need to do in this life. And I have a saying that everybody makes me stop and they want to write it down, even though I just say it in passing. It's just something that I'm so used to saying because it's so important. Reality can create challenges for you. And some people live in extreme circumstances, and I don't overlook that. But I always tell people, you are built to achieve and do you. So don't reduce your dreams to accommodate reality. Instead, elevate your reality to accommodate your dreams. You can do it. The next thing would be, don't try to go for perfect. I am a recovering, they always say you're always in recovery. I am a recovering perfectionist. You cannot be perfect. So what I teach people is forget about perfection. In every moment, just do your best to do your best. And each day you'll be better than the day before. And that is perfection in and of itself. The other thing is failure is an event, not a state of being. Fail forward. Those who have had many failures have phenomenal success. If you look at the biography of anybody who's achieved great things, I always tell people, don't look at the snapshot, the photo op at the end. Go back, look at the history, look at what they came through, because that will inform you about the seeds for success. They failed many times. I have failed countless times, but you fail forward. Failure is simply information. It is not a destination.
When you were starting the business, was there a certain community that you had in mind to serve, either, age-wise or other kind of demographic?
Yes, there was. Initially, the calling was to serve adolescent youth. That parameter of numbers has changed, so I'm going to give you the parameter that they speak of now. Adolescence simply means in a growth phase, in a learning phase. So that's from the ages of really, not that you're not learning prior to this, but really adolescent, really making transition into big transitions in your life. I think that's what we are speaking about when we speak about adolescence. So it's really between the ages of 11 and 21. In your intermediate teen years, you're kind of learning how to step into your teenage years. So that's a big transition. You're going through puberty, different things like that. Big transition. High school, okay, and maybe like the big man on campus, but you're now preparing to move on. Once you graduate from high school, what are you going to be? Are you going to go on for further education? You're going to go on to a job? That's a big transition period. Then if you do decide to go to college, or even if you don't, how am I going to be able to succeed in college or a trade or move on in what I love to do, my gifts, talents, and abilities? What does that look like? So to help them in their transformative years as they're transitioning, that was really the main focus initially. However, as the business and the mission evolved, it became more of a multi-generational approach. And the reason is this. It takes everybody. It takes a village to raise a child. So if we inform the parents as well as the children, especially in underserved areas where they may not have access to what I'm talking about, we really want to educate the parents of these kids to make sure that they are aware of what we're teaching, of what we're bringing forward, and they can learn from that because they probably didn't have access to it before. Then together, it's a team effort. People say, Wendy, Mpower is your business. No, it's not my business. It is something that I was giving stewardship over. It's a mission, and I need my teammates to make it work. It's not about me. It's about the team. It's about the mission. It's about the results. It's about making a difference, making it happen, and I will recruit anybody that can help me in that journey.
Can you explain a little bit about the core elements of the CPR for empowerment? What makes these elements unique? What makes your program unique?
Yeah. CPR for empowerment is really the acronym, not CPR, continuous positive resuscitation, but continuous positive reinforcement. I did the pun on CPR because I'm a doctor. So I thought that'd be fun. It's something relatable that's taught in schools so people know about CPR. And it's actually it's the pun of continuous positive reinforcement is it takes practice to create a habit. So CPR is actually CPR squared, continuous positive reinforcement. You want to continuously practice and rehearse. So it's all of these things to be able to create the habit of success. It becomes those 10,000 hours. The more you practice something, the more you consistently practice and rehearse, the more it becomes second nature or a knee-jerk response. So really getting people to create the habits of joy, peace, love, success, tolerance, goodness. It has to be practice. It can't be just one thing that you learn one day and drop it the next. So to reinforce that, science of success is really based on the fact that I use both spiritual elements and scientific elements and fuse them. They are one and the same. It is not either or, it is both and. And to think that you're going to have scientific progress without spiritual information, intellect without wisdom. Intellect is of the human, wisdom is of the spirit. You must have both. But if I have to choose, the most important one is wisdom. If you have wisdom, then you have everything.
I'm curious, when you were first starting off in your medical career, how you navigated things like opportunities and difference and your own philosophy about embracing those differences and inclusivity.
Yes, certainly when I went to medical school, coming into that space, there weren't a lot of me around, a Black woman. So I was either the only, the first, or one of the few. Going largely to an institution that only had very few minority for representation, it was unfamiliarity, let's call it that, and an ignorance. They may not have been able to be around a Black woman before. So there were certain ways of acting toward me that were racist, that were sexist. It's just the way it was. I'm not going to say it was malicious. For example, someone asked me, they said, "Oh, your parents must be so proud of you." And I was thoroughly confused. I said, "Proud of what?" They said, "Oh, because, you're in medical school, you're going to be a doctor." I said, "I am not even near the first of getting a higher degree in my family, won't be the last, and I have not been the last." So we're used to higher education. I'm the new kid on the block. I said, my dad's a doctor. My mother's a teacher. She has 3 master's degrees. My brother's a lawyer. My other brother has his MBA. So we're all educated, and I'm the third child out of 4. They were way ahead of me. So we're used to this. We're used to this. So things like that, more of an ignorance, I would say, that came out as racism. And it's not that it's okay, but if you have the opportunity to educate and inform, I'm not going to be, people say, "Well, weren't you mad at them?" I said, now, why would I be mad at them if no one ever educated them and no one ever told them? How are they supposed to know? You can't know something if you didn't ask the question and didn't have the right person to give you the answer. Now, after I give you the answer, if you're still in that space, there's nothing I can do, but I can understand where you're coming from now, because once I give you the information and fill that in, I'm hoping that it will inform you to learn, grow, evolve, and be better.
And you were navigating this from other medical professionals or from patients?
Oh, all of the above. I've had racist people who were my colleagues, and I have definitely had racist people who were my patients. Sometimes it was subtle racism, like coming in, and the first thing they'll do is that they'll interview me about all my credentials, even though I was more educated than the actual doctor doing the surgery in terms of time in practice. But that's the way it was. And again, I remained humble. I kept my head in a spiritual space, not in the human ego space. I think managing your ego is critical, because if you are in your ego and all up in your feelings, as the kids say, you're going to navigate from a space that is going to alienate and create more divisiveness. I'm about peace and unity, and I will educate anybody. I'll take for granted that you need information, and I will share it. Is it alarming? Yes, it's alarming, But again, I just educate them.
So even before Mpower Productions, this was a philosophy that you were living out in the medical field.
It's a way of living. It really started, I would say, demonstratively in high school. I was the first Black to play for the second high school I went to. I went to 2 high schools. They were both Catholic. The first one closed down because of lack of funding. And I went to the second high school. I was really recruited for basketball. That's how they knew that I existed and wanted me to come and play on their team. Whew. And I have to say that the N-word was pervasive. Even some of the teachers and the educators were questioning my intellect. They didn't know that I was the top student at my prior school, so they didn't know any of this. They just saw Wendy, the basketball player. And I ended up being in the top of my class as this school when I graduated. So I think when I first got there, I realized there was a lot of ignorance. People said, "You weren't mad?" I said, "Yeah, I wasn't happy with it." But again, you have to educate people. It's interesting, but it's also very sad that we haven't made progress in that direction. But certain experiences are placed on our path for us to learn, grow, and evolve from, not to serve as an impediment. And if you see them as a springboard to inform you to move forward, you can utilize them to move forward and make a difference. I'm the incurable optimist. I still believe that even though things are the way they are now, they're not good, but I believe that we can be better. But I always will choose to be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. So I will always do what I have to do and try and recruit others to join me and recruit myself to join others so that we can create this mission of love, peace, and unity through empowerment and healing.
What continues to give you that motivation and that optimism when we are facing difficult moments and navigating some of these situations?
I think what it is that I'm not alone. There's many people, although they may seem to be few and far between. I have teammates, some of whom I've met, some of whom I am yet to meet. But I believe that teamwork makes the dream work. And I'm an optimist because I know there are good people out there who have the same belief system that I have, who want the same things, love, peace, and unity. So as long as I'm not alone, this mission carries on. It's like, again, it's not my business. It is a global mission. It's just that I've been called to steward this particular piece of it, but I need more teammates. So I'm recruiting.
Yeah. Was there anything else I didn't ask you that you wanted to share about your journey, about the business, about what people can expect?
Yes, I would love for people to reach out for me, and also they can reach me via email. It would be Wendy Ward at mpowerproductions.com. So it's Wendy Ward at MPOWER Productions spelled out with an S on the end.com. So feel free to shoot me an email. And the message that I want to give is for everyone to stay encouraged. I know that these are hard times, but we are prepared for these times. If we weren't prepared for these times, we would not be here. Know that you have all of the gifts, the talents, and the abilities. You have the strength. Tune up your courage, tune up your confidence, find your teammates, work together, put down your ego, amplify your spirit, and let's work together to make this world a better place for all of us. As Mahatma Gandhi said, we must be the change we want to see in the world.
If you want to learn more about Dr. Ward's work or get involved with Mpower Productions, head over to mpowerproductions.com. And remember, don't reduce your dreams to accommodate reality. Elevate your reality to match your dreams. And if you know of a local business that you think Epicenter should feature, let us know. Drop us a note at hello@epicenter-nyc.com. That's all for today. Thanks for listening, and thanks for supporting us as we do our best to support our community. We couldn't do it without you. For more stories like this, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter at epicenter-nyc.com. Our intro music is All the Pretty Horses by Karavika. You can find more of their music on their website, linked to in our podcast description.